Good morning. Happy day 3. How about that ride in?
Come on, we need a few laughs.
Yeah, we gotta get
give
things
something.
going. All right, so today we're gonna be talking about the 5 pillars of scale in marketing programs. As we got the lovely intro from John, my name is Bothe,
I'm Natalie Mathis.
and we work in product marketing for the Marketing Cloud at Salesforce. Now, we heard a lot about AI this week. Of course, we have. It's the theme, and it's also almost a 365-day birthday to OpenAI and to ChatGPT. So we've heard a lot about it in the last 12 months as well. So when we think about the headlines that have come across our Twitter feeds, our LinkedIn feeds, our newsletters, of course, an email, over the course of the last year, we've seen a lot of mentions of scale. We've seen a lot of mentions of scale even in the last few days from presentations. And a lot of the MarTech vendors that are here, us included, have scale on their homepage, on their website. But when we think about, AI, that's a very specific definition. We know it's a type of technology, it's a machine learning model, and we know what generally we mean by AI. But when we say AI at scale, scale is a word that's very open to interpretation. So over the course of the next few slides, allow us to put forward maybe a definition that we could all collectively use in this room. So
I think the first thing we want to think about when we think about scale is what it's meant in previous years of email marketing, right? It's evolved. We think about batch and blast used to be our big definition of scale. We'd send as many emails as possible. And then things started to advance, right? You have to start thinking about new privacy concerns, start thinking about deliverability and how important that is. And then we have a boom of different channels. And we have the iPhone, and we have everyone's on their mobile phones. And now it's really important to reach them on any device at any time. And then that progresses us into today, where we really think about real-time engagement. As customers give us data, they expect more for their experience. And so as marketers, we get to this place where we have to be really, really critical about how we reach our customers in real-time engagement and what those micro moments. We have the introduction of predictive AI and now generative AI. But this evolution, it's not replacing one thing. This is all still compounding. So it's just increasing the complexity of what does it really mean for marketers to deliver scale. So that's what we're going to talk about. I think we can all kind of look around the room and say, all right, we all might have a different definition of scale. And so what does that mean for today? So we have created a little mnemonic device to take us through our 5 pillars. So we're going to unpack this a little bit. So we have S for send volume, C, content complexity, A, automation, L, loyalty, and E, Einstein, which is a little nod to Salesforce Einstein. So we're going to dive into these. Brett, do you want to give us an S?
I would love nothing more. So when we talk about scale, of course, for us, our customers, this sort of retail holiday is one of the biggest times of the year. You are sort of looking to put big numbers out for your executive teams. You're looking to get that ROI, but it's also big for the platform vendors, your technology partners, because obviously all of our customers need us to be delivering at scale at that time. So in technology, in MarTech, we think about this in a couple of different ways, and we all report out on this. So for Salesforce specifically, we kind of divvy this up into 3 sort of different categories. So message volume is number 1. And I think when we think of scale, I think send volume is probably the lowest common denominator in what we all think of email scale. But for message volume, this is really sort of the put your money where your mouth is number in terms of, you need to be there not just for one enterprise customer, but for all of your customers. All of your customers might need you at a single moment in time, and you need to be able to deliver all of those emails at scale. Another number that we talk about is mobile growth. Now, a lot of the platforms report this out as well, and I think it's really awesome because what it shows is that a lot of us are delivering more multi-channel moments, more customer-centric moments that aren't just email-centric, that have a lot of channels. So we love to see that channel year-over-year growth. And then lastly, it's about AI-powered performance. Now, over the course of this week, we've heard a lot about sort of content blocks and sort of some of that decisioning, what goes into personalization. And AI-powered content blocks can do that by sort of putting product recommendations forward or surfacing that in the email. So we love to see that sort of growth and big numbers in that category as well. So after S, we have C.
C is all around content complexity. And the benefit of us going on day 3 is that all of you have set this up really well because this is a really big topic. We've seen this all week in terms of how do we deliver personalized experiences to any audience? What are those components that go into creating those experiences as marketers? So, and how do we let AI really be another addition to the team and really help us as marketers be more efficient? So if you think about segmentation, we've heard a lot of good examples around this week. And I think thinking around, who your audience and what their preferences are is extremely important. And AI, I think one thing we're really excited about is thinking about how AI can really expand your reach and really get smarter with segmentation. So things like looking at your highest value audiences and having AI look across your broader audience and see where there might be some parallels to expand that reach with lookalike segments. Across content creation, I've heard so many amazing examples this week around how AI is going into your content creation. And I think one sort of common denominator is that there is a lot of different parts of your workflow that AI can fit in. So it's thinking through what are all those different elements and where can you start? There's things from predictive AI to generative AI that can really help you. And I think one thing for us that we see is that AI really does help with the testing and performance and optimization of your content. And that is a really, really great way to start using AI in terms of how you're leveraging the performance optimization. And then lastly, journey orchestration. How are you deploying these campaigns? And thinking beyond just the campaign itself, we heard a lot about this week as well, which I think is really important, is how do you have AI help you with some of those triggers based on behavior and event? So it becomes more always on, real time versus a one and done scheduled campaign. So these are a couple ways that we sort of just wanted to highlight some of the use cases that we think are really important across content complexity. Do you want to take us into automation?
Yes. Okay, so automation. Now, this goes hand in hand with ESPs and marketing automation platforms, of course, but it's all about performance and deliverability. We've had roundtables on that. We've discussed that. That's the ultimate goal for every email marketing program, is to make sure that the email that you're sending makes its way to your customer's inbox. But how do we do that? Now, I think for a standard ESP, there's really sort of a balancing act between two kind of key components. And the first is connected data. Now, we've talked about this. We've heard discussions on CDPs, different ways of ingesting data into your email marketing platform to make sense of all the customer data your organization may have. But it is about being able to ingest that data and then act on it. And then ultimately the messaging workload. So are you able to have all this data coming into your system and then trigger messaging at scale? Is it able to make sense of that data, action on it, and do that at capacity? So meaning that you're not sort of hitting the limits and slowing things down. It's sort of a well-oiled machine kind of running itself. And then sort of hand in hand with that balancing act is system hygiene. So it's about workflow patterns. How are things set up within your ESP? Are you doing that in an efficient way that's optimized so that data is moving seamlessly and not getting caught in any sort of kinks in the funnel? Are you keeping sort of an annual or maybe quarterly sort of contact cleanliness and contact hygiene practice? And then lastly, it's about automation optimization. We have situations where you may retire a journey if it's not working or you kind of want to try something new, but you may have forgotten to sort of retire that automation. So the automation may be running. Even we've had instances of terabytes of data sort of going on dead journeys, which will ultimately slow the whole system down and ultimately impact deliverability and performance of the ESP and of the email system. So that's how we think about automation. It's really about connected data, system hygiene, and then ultimately, is your platform kind of innovating and are they providing resources for you to manage that? So is there a system optimization dashboard that's going to allow you to review sort of all of your journeys running across multiple business units or even just in one to see if there's something that's slowing down, something that you like a master sort of console where you can slow a journey down, pause it if it's not working, check in with your IT team if something, maybe an API is broken. So it's about making sure, I think we've heard in the last decade a lot of like the set it and forget it, but that's not how automation works. It's about making sure it's clean and it's flowing through the system, and we're making sure we have, however many weekly, quarterly checks on some of these things to make sure that they're in a healthy place. So next up is L.
L is all about loyalty, and this is super important because I think something that can be conflated with scale is also, are we actually connecting to the life cycle? Are we actually connecting the experience and the journey? Because scale is nothing if it's not personalized in today's world. We talked about that at the start, and I think as marketers, we know our life cycle journey. We know the different phases that we want our customers, no matter the industry, what we want them to go through and what that funnel looks like. But this is really around, does every touch point connect back to the customer life cycle and that experience, whether it's a one-off campaign, it should all still come back to that touch point across this life cycle. And it goes beyond marketing. So for us, we think a lot about our customer 360. How is your sales team connecting to your marketing? How is your marketing connecting to your service and the engagement experience? And how that continuation beyond promotion, how they're getting service, beyond that. What does that experience look like for them? So, we challenge each one of you to think about, your platform and how they're helping you visualize those touch points and how you're really rooting yourself into the customer journey.
Okay.
And we're going to close things out with E.
I would love to. So E for us is Einstein. Now that means AI that you can trust. I think a more sort of platform agnostic approach might be extensibility, AI extensibility. So one of the ways in which we look at it is like, is it scalable? Is it something that is in the UI? Is it in your workflow? Is it something that you can actually leverage every day rather than going to a separate application, running some AI, and then bringing it back into your workflow? That's not really efficiency. And for us at Salesforce, we talk a lot about a secure trust layer. This is really important to us. Our core belief is that, our customers' data is not our product. And so we build the product making sure that there is the security and that our customers can trust us and use our technology and know that it's safe and that their customer data is safe. And then, Natalie hit on personalized orchestration. We've talked a lot about dynamic content selection. These are all things that should be built into your UI so that you can leverage them and different sort of segments of your team can leverage them. And we talk about sort of grounded insight. And we've, of course, talked about generative AI. A lot of the platforms have generative AI built in, but are they differentiating it? Is it something that you can ground in your own brand in the UI? So that's really how we think about Einstein, about AI that you can trust, and it's really an important component of your entire scalable program. So what's that spell? Scale. Thank you for bearing with us on that. We just thought we'd have some fun. But ultimately, we think scale is so much more than just send volume. It should be content complexity. It should be automation. It should be loyalty. And it should be Einstein or extensibility, AI that you can trust and a workflow that you can trust within your ESP. But one more thing before we close out.
Yeah, so we decided to take to our social channel on LinkedIn to see what folks around our Marketing Cloud community thought about this topic. We just simplified a little bit for the social, but we asked, what do you think is the most valuable component to marketing at scale? I think everyone in this room would probably agree with this or know that this is probably this was going to be the results, right? Not a lot of people are voting for send volume at this stage, but personalization and automation and AI are really king right now. I think in our world with how we think about delivering value at scale. So we'd love to know what you think. If you scan this QR code, it'll take you to this poll. You can obviously answer the poll, but we'd love to actually get, comment on it, start the conversation with us. We want to continue this topic. And actually, next week on December 13th, we have a marketing chat on our LinkedIn and our Twitter. So follow us if you're not already following us. And join that conversation next week. We're going to actually have some questions that we pose to our community around this topic and kind of continuing the conversation. And then obviously feel free to come connect with Brett and I afterwards. And thank you for sticking around for day 3 with us. We really appreciate it.